Are you familiar with Critical Role's own Matt Mercer? Some folk, often people who haven't ever played D&D, watch Critical Role and expect the average D&D game to be the same thing. This is the tale of one such event. Roll post. Myself and a couple of friends joined a game shop and met some new people who had seen Critical Role and wanted to play. At this point, I had no idea what Critical Role was, but hey, they wanted to play. I was DMing, and the hook to get them to the town they needed to go to was a delivery request. All the PCs were delivering something for the king, except one. We will call the problem player edgelord. He had made a warlock whose patron was Cthulhu. I had told him and everyone before the game started that I was running a heroic game and evil was not allowed. That, if you performed evil acts, it would be punished, all part of the story I had planned out in a cursed land. I didn't tell him it was because of an evil wizard who had managed to curse the land to steal the life energy of anyone evil and turn them into an undead servant while bolstering his powers. Edgelord assured me he was not playing evil, he was chaotic neutral. I knew there was going to be problems with this from the backstory he gave, where his family was killed and he hunted down and killed a nation right down to the children for revenge. They were level 3 by the way, but I had reined in problem players before and still had them had fun, so I talked things out and got everything set, until he said his character wouldn't work for the king. Fine, I gave him a special request to deliver a letter from a cult mate to her druidic family, telling them that she was alright and basically asking for a banana bread recipe that her mother made. He was fine with this. Can we appreciate just how willing that guy was to go from murder all of them, none will be spared, to I'm gonna go get mama's banana bread recipe. The quickest transition from R-rated to G. Like if the hatred guy decided at the last minute to collab with Cocomelon. What I just said is actually going to be the tone of the story. A murderous psychopath on a quest to ask for a banana bread recipe. Roll post. Everyone makes it to the town in question, finding the place creepy. Fog covered, clouds so thick the sunlight didn't shine. It was nearing night, so it was almost pitch black out, and even those with dark vision were having trouble seeing. Trees gnarled and dead-looking thorny vines everywhere. Something was not right. The rest of the party found an inn, and there they started to discover the first oddity. If they started any sentence with, "I order you," the people would go glassy-eyed for a moment, and then carry out the order as stated. This came about because of one rant from the barbarian. Now, I figured this would be abused and had the loot from the town ready. However, the party surprised me. They started ordering the people who looked overworked and malnourished to take a break, rest, and relax. They started to feed them as best they could with what they had. Cleric tending to any sick and wounded, and the rogue trying to word things correctly so no one could ever take advantage of these people again. I was amazed. Then there was edgelord. I stated at this moment it was midnight. People were going back to their homes after a long day, and the party was feeling tired from their trip. They all went to bed vowing to do more good in the morning. Edgelord, when he was alone, went to a random home and shouted, "I order you to open up now!" I rolled randomly for NPCs, and he was greeted by an elderly woman in her nightgown and stocking feet. "I order you to tell me where the druids are!" He yelled at her, making sure to state that he drew his dagger on her. "The druids are in the forest. They're a few hours' walk from the town, but it's dangerous. The animals have been acting up, and wolves are... ... Before I could finish, he states, "I order you to be silent from now on." She stopped talking. "I order you to take me to the druids, now." So the trek began. I described them going into the pitch-black woods, the poor old woman stumbling several times because she couldn't see, limping from stepping on rocks and other sharp things in the night, pushing onward even though she was exhausted from a day's work and now hours of travel. He didn't care, so the curse kicked in and he lost 1d4 from a random stat. He complained that it was unfair and the other players told him that I had warned them all not to be evil. I'm not being evil. I have to deliver this letter. Everyone jumped on him, explaining why it's evil, that the letter is not that important, and that he could have gone in the morning and not tortured a grandmother. It's what my character would do, and Matt Mercer would reward me for it. So edgelord kept going. I tried to give him another chance now that things were pointed out, and told him that he was getting tired too, thinking maybe if he had to stop, he would at least treat the old lady with some compassion. Nope, not edgelord. So, because they were level 3, I had started them off with some low-end magic items. He had chosen a few scrolls, one of which was Rope Trick. He cast it and everyone was happy because the lady would be safe in the space and would get some sleep. I, again, pointed out to him that she was injured and her thin skin meant she had many scrapes that were bleeding and needed tending to. A player piped up, "Don't forget she mentioned wolves." Edgelord, "Right, she mentioned wolves. Okay, I climb up the rope and then stick my head out. I order you to keep guard and make sure nothing comes for me. If anything dangerous comes after me, attack it." I pull the rope up after me. Everyone at the table was shocked. For that, he lost 1d6 from all stats. To which, again, he complained it wasn't fair, he hadn't done anything evil, and how Matt Mercer would reward him with gold or XP for playing his character right. How Matt Mercer would see him as the hero, and how Matt Mercer was such a better DM than me. I rolled randomly to see if the blood and helpless lady would attract any animals, and she did. So in the morning, he only finds her corpse. He laughs at it and says, "Heh, stupid lady should have yelled for help." Everyone reminded him that he had forbidden her from speaking, to which he just laughed more. Another 1d6 from his stats and another tirade on how Matt Mercer would handle it differently. I would be willing to bet precious crustaceans that edgelord does not watch Critical Role at all, because Matt doesn't do any of this. Rather, I suggest that edgelord instead thinks that Matt Mercer is the #1 best DM ever, and that all DMs want to be like him. So he's weaponizing the idea of the Matt Mercer figure in an attempt to make OP feel inferior or not good enough. But, plot twist, not even close to all DMs want to be Matt, and Matt doesn't want any DMs to try and be just like him. There are a lot of good DMing and playing lessons you can learn through Critical Role, but it's obvious that becoming Matt is not one of them. But edgelord is gonna take it to the next level. How this party reacts remains a mystery. Roll post. He picked up the body, carried her back to town, and dumped her in the middle of town square, shouting, "I order you all to come here." Everyone gathered, appalled at what they saw. Edgelord points to one person. "I order you to bury her," points to another person. "I order you to..." He didn't get to finish, because the rogue stepped in and shouted, "I order you to not listen to that man," making sure his orders would not be obeyed. Edgelord went on a screaming tirade, then shouted that he needed to deliver the letter so his friend gets their banana bread. I forgot that all of this pain and death was over a banana bread recipe. Okay. The rogue looks to me and asks, "DM, is it evil to kill a murderer?" I can see where this is going, so I just say, "You don't know how the curse on this land would see it, so you might suffer." Everyone else in the party is fine with that, and they proceed to attack edgelord. Now, I have a problem because I don't want to chase off a new player, but I also don't want to lose the interest of the party who has been doing so well. They are emotionally invested in this, and I'm happy about that. So I make the tough call and tell edgelord, you can try to talk your way out of it, repent or run, but if you want, you can make a new character since this one didn't work out. Edgelord gets up, screams how Matt Mercer never would have allowed this, tells me I'm a crap DM and that I need to study Critical Role, and stomps out of the shop, never to be seen again. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Honestly, the idea of studying Critical Role to become a better player or DM is a complete misunderstanding of both CR and D&D. Matt's style is just that. He runs a game in a way that is very viewer-centric. He's a great DM with a few emulatable traits, but to treat his style like textbook DMing ignores the fact that not every game is live streamed, played by professional entertainers, and enjoyed by millions. Many people prefer many different styles of GMing, and Matt's is only one. OP has another story of Critical Role toxicity. It's called Part 2, but the only recurring character is OP. Roll post. Cast of characters. Barbarian, the old DM, 20-year-old female. Wizard and cleric, both males age 17 and 18 respectively, and 2 druids, both female ages 19 and 20, they're dating. The fact that they're dating should not be important, but it becomes so. The game I had joined was mostly a sandbox. Go anywhere in the world you like, and there will be something there to fight, some problem to fix, something. I explained to everyone when I volunteered that I was more into linear storytelling. One event leading to another, so on and so forth, so it would be more restrictive and less open world. They all agreed this was fine and wanted to try. I, of course, promised if they went somewhere off the path, I would have something ready, as I am often good at improv. Session 1 started in a town where the group met each other, since no one wanted to know each other beforehand besides the 2 druids who were married in the RP. I described the town and asked what everyone was doing. Wizard was looking for a bookstore, cleric, the local church, barbarian wanted a tavern to go drink at, and the 2 druids smiled to each other and told me, we turn into cats, specifically 1 black house cat and 1 white. They then went into an alleyway and started to describe some, for me, uncomfortable grooming. The stage was set and the town was attacked by rampaging hobgoblins on wolves, riding through and attacking anyone they saw. Wizard, barbarian, and cleric all rolled for initiative and were psyched for battle. The druids asked to go last. Okay, the battle was heating up with the hobs and the party when it gets to their turn. More grooming. This went on for a few turns before they decided they wanted to go look around. I described the desperate fight again. The scared people and the buildings that had been set on fire from hobs or stray spells. The cats? They asked if there were any mice or rats around. I rolled and said there were a few. The rest of the party fought the hobs while these 2 captured rats to give to stray cats. Okay, as long as they're having fun, I guess. I gave out loot for the hobs, nothing grand, just some gold and items giving hints to where their camp was. The 2 druids piped up and asked, how much gold is on the rats? I looked blankly at them and said none! They are rats! Both glared at me, but we continued. A lot of talking by the wizard and cleric, and the town had hired them to take care of the goblin problem that had been plaguing them. The 2 druids just inserted themselves when the party was leaving. Nothing said, just suddenly 2 elven druids waiting for the party like they know them. The party said nothing, so I hand-waved it. Some searching later and lots of RP with travelers giving sightings, and the session ended. Everyone seemed to have fun. I got home to find a private Facebook message from the two druids giving a list of what you did wrong, citing that I didn't give them gold or magic items on the rats. And I didn't have the cats RP with them more, as well as a link to Matt Mercer's tips and tricks for DMing. I will admit I was a bit miffed and in the headspace of, ugh, not that name again, so I didn't watch it. The next session started with the party finding a ransacked cart and several dead bodies. It was a family heading to town and everything of value was taken. I was careful to state everything of value. No gold, nothing that could be sold, anything left behind was broken and worthless. The dead torn apart by the wolves. I went into graphic detail, and I was happy when I saw the wizard player turning a bit pale. The party was invested, except the druids who were kissing both RP and at the table. I should note that they didn't act like this for the other DM. There was a clear path of goblin prints leading off into the woods, and the party was set to go after them. When the druids pipe up, "We turn into birds." I'm happy, thinking that they're going to scout. Nope, they perch in the tree to watch the cart, stating that, well, duh, it's obvious the goblins will be back. I took the time to tell them again that everything of value had been taken, so the goblins had no reason to come back. One said, nope, not falling for it. So I told them, this is me talking, not as the DM. There is no reason for the goblins to come back. This is what I talked about linear storytelling. This event is leading to another. One brings up their phone of the Kronk meme going right and winking. They insist on staying back. The rest of the party finds the goblin camp, and I'm honestly not wanting to have the two druids left behind, so I bite the bullet and have two stupid goblins talking about how there must be more treasure on the bodies. This does the trick and gets the druids to follow two empty-handed goblins back to the same camp the other players are at, both having smug looks on their faces and one of them pointing at me going, "Ha, I knew you were tricking us. We found the camp." The fight starts and everyone's doing well until I introduce the big bad of this session, a hobgoblin wizard and his warlock companions. Here I was a bit evil. I had an item that would give the goblins an extra bonus action. The items would be the party's reward at the end. Broken, I know, but I do that. So I was heavily abusing the Wall of Force and Misty Step trick. Wizard put up a Dome of Force and the goblins used Misty Step to get in, attack, and get out. The party was scared, doing everything they could think of to get out of this. I had given them, in the loot from the first fight, several ways to get out, but they used one I actually hadn't thought of. I had made a single-use scroll of the old pit trap spell. They positioned it so it would be the center of the wall, and then used athletics to climb down and out. I was impressed and gave out inspiration points for it since the wizard, cleric, and barbarian had worked together to think it up. It got to the druid's turn and they each told me that they turned into spiders. I'm thinking large spiders to make climbing easier, and they instantly correct me saying, itty bitty tiny spiders. They then roll to hide in the grass. Some rounds later, they're still hiding. So I removed the Wall of Force fully, thinking that was the disconnect. Nope, still hiding. The other three are struggling, but they manage to win the day. Both druids are staring daggers at me. I give out loot and ask if everyone had fun, something I do after every session. Druid 1 stands up angrily. No, how can you be so inept at this? Matt Mercer would have made our actions count. We were clever and played our characters perfectly to a T, and you don't seem to notice that we should be getting extra loot and XP for doing such a great job. Druid 2. This was horrible. Matt Mercer goes by rules as written and sticks to the rules 100%. He never just makes something up or homebrews anything. Also, he would have seen how special our spider tactic was and rewarded us for it. Look, I don't have the time or the wherewithal to describe just how incredibly wrong that statement is. But for everything I just said, just know that the opposite is true. The exact opposite is true. Me. Sorry, but I gave you opportunities to attack and you just kept hiding. I don't see how that's my fault. Druid 2. And that's why you're a shitty DM. We're done with this. Call us when you learn to be like Matt Mercer. They both stormed out and I looked to the others. One by one, they shook their heads, told me they were done, and left. I asked the old DM what's going on, and was it really that bad of a fight? To which she told me, look, if the hot lesbians aren't in the game, I'm not showing up and neither are the others. What the fuck? Huh? What? I'm sorry, this was the wrong story to live react to. That, I did not see that ending coming. You know what? No, I'm not going to interact with that last sentence. This will reign as one of the stupidest things I've read in my life, and I feel empty I feel emptier for having read it. But there's gotta be some takeaway, or this will just be a giant waste of time. To all of my DMs out there, Mercer is only one in a million different kinds of DM. You are the dungeon master. Find and refine a style of game that's unique to you. Not everyone's going to be a fan of your style, and that's okay. Don't be a worse Matt. Be the best you. Till next time.